So first things first, today it was announced that Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith would be headlining and would be on the cover of College Football 26. Obviously, College Football 26 comes back 1 year following College Football 25 after a long-awaited hiatus. Prior to College Football 14 being the most recent one. After the NIL contract dispute that finally was resolved, Ryan Williams just was absolutely incredible to see him being able to get on this. Obviously, they're highlighting the freshmen that have been on the platform and are showing, this is what the future of college football looks like. I know it was a big deal last year that Ryan Williams also got an elite ultimate card, ultimate team card. It was like a 92 overall. I actually did fortunately pull it. So that's something that I think that they're trying to do to just help grow the game. Obviously, if you can get some of the more engaged, some of the more high-profile players that have some of the bigger social media presences and some of the bigger superstars of the game as your cover athletes, that's what you're going for. This is going away from the model of having the Heisman winner on the cover, but I think a lot of that has to do with the Heisman winner being in the NFL now, and so sometimes that does cause some issues when you're talking about the way that their licensing agreement works with college players versus NFL players. And since Travis Hunter is not in the game, then he can't be on the cover, right? So there's a few weird licensing agreement things that happen. So I think that's why you're seeing a diversion from the previous having the Heisman winner on the cover of the next year's game. This is the third Alabama player that's been on the cover. Obviously, most recently, Mark Ingram in 2011, and then Sean Alexander way back when. He was on the NCAA 2001 game. And then, when we were going to keep on the Ryan Williams news, this isn't exactly related to the game, but he was interviewed by Pete Nakos, and he was asked about the college football playoff. And, I think it was partially because of the media surrounding the game and such. But Nakos was asking him specifically about the playoff. And Ryan mentioned, and this was something that kind of blew my mind. I didn't even think of it this way. He goes, in my entire life, Alabama has won 10 games. Then my first season here, that was the only time we haven't won 10 games since I've been alive. You can only imagine what losing to Michigan did to me. We know what we want to accomplish. We're some men on a mission. Right, that's a quote from Ryan Williams. Again, something that you don't think about. Obviously, the 17 years old, the 18 years old, that's talked about a lot. But as an Alabama fan that's been alive through some Mike Shula years, and I know some older fans that follow along with the channel and follow along with the show, or have probably been along since many years before that, right? There have been some bad times of Alabama football, right? We all talk about the Bear Bryants and the Nick Sabans of the world, but it was not all rainbows and unicorns. We've had some really, really bad years. And so when you think that you have a player on the team from the state of Alabama, obviously been a huge Alabama fan most of his life, that has not seen a 10 or less than 10 win Alabama, it's just crazy to think of the time that we're in right now. Obviously, it also shows that the college football age is changing. This isn't Nick Saban's Alabama team. We've talked about that. Obviously, I do think that this team is capable of getting back to, championship level, but I don't think that any team in the NIL transfer portal era will be able to do what Nick Saban did for the sustained success, right? For the 17-year career, I don't think that that's going to be sustainable. However, I do think that obviously we can have some elite programs, right? Especially some of these programs that have solid funding as well as good coaching. But I don't think that the sustained success for the amount of time that Nick Saban was able to be at the top is something that you're going to see. You even saw it in Nick Saban's era with guys like Dabo Swinney and others that, had some good hot spots, but then just couldn't sustain the success nearly as long as Saban was able to. So